What's up, guys? Teddy Striker here. Today we're going to be talking about Robert Whittaker because he was a huge favorite going to the Dricus Duplessis fight. And, it turns out that Dricus was actually able to get the job done and he stopped Robert Whittaker. He becomes the first man to beat Robert Whittaker at middleweight outside of Israel Adesanya. And that's a huge deal. And I'm going to try to kind of figure out why, because, Robert Whittaker, going into this, he had the right attitude. He was saying, Dricus is the most dangerous guy he's ever fought because he hasn't fought him yet. And that he's not taking Dricus, lightly, because everyone was saying, oh, Rob, you're going to watch this guy. You're going to Robert Whittaker by whatever he wants and things like that. You're hearing, Whittaker's going to school him. He's going to beat him and then fight Adesanya in September. All these things, but none of those happened. And it turns out that, Dricus came in prepared more. He came in better than everyone thought. And I think including Robert Whittaker. And I think the biggest thing that happened in this fight was how awkward Dricus Duplessis was. Because when you look at Robert Whittaker's other opponents like Jared Cannonier, Marvin Vettori, Kelvin Gastelum, the thing about some of these guys is, they were, staying in one stance first. Cannonier, he's an orthodox, but he found that Robert Whittaker was open in the southpaw stance to that, right jab, which is what Dricus used. But those guys, they kind of stick to one specific game plan. They weren't, moving all over the place, and they were kind of stationary targets, to be fair, because they were kind of going forward. Cannonier had some good head movement at times, but Vettori and Gastelum, they were just kind of stationary targets, and they're to be hit because they're pressure, sort of plotting pressure fighters. But when Whittaker goes up against someone who's a bit of a more dynamic striker and who kind of switches stances, like Stephen Wonderboy Thompson or Israel Adesanya, he does tend to find some trouble there. And, Dricus, was able to do that because he wasn't able to give Whittaker a sense of timing, because Whittaker didn't know when he could throw his jab out there because Dricus was constantly switching. And Dricus, usually he fights in the orthodox stance. So I'm assuming that's what Whittaker was preparing for. But Dricus was, moving very awkwardly, kind of moving around. He just has a weird idol. And the way he moves and everything, it's very awkward. And it's hard to get the timing on that. But I think if Whittaker was able to, mix up the targets a bit better, instead of just going for the head, mix in some body kicks, mix in some body hooks and leg kicks, I think he could have, had a much greater chance of winning. Because the thing is, he probably, wasn't as prepared as Dricus, and he didn't make the adjustments in the fight. And I think that mixed in with, Israel Adesanya's manifest made Robert Whittaker lose. And I think that's what really happened to him. And I hope this doesn't start the beginning of a downward spiral for him, because he's a great fighter. But yeah, that's what happened to him.